everyone, and welcome to the epic conclusion of the 2017 Utah Open. Big Julie commentary coming at you for the third straight round. Myself, Jeremy Koling, joined as always by Paul Ulibarri from Mesa, Arizona. Paul, we got Ricky Wysocki with a 3-stroke lead over Josh Anthon and myself. And Drew Gibson's one back, and he's tied with you from the second card. It's a lot of really close action coming into a course with tons of OB and lots of scoring separation on almost every hole.
Oh yeah, this is going to be super exciting. I expect it to be close all the way till the finish. And yeah, just a stacked card. Can't wait.
Yeah, Ricky doesn't really relinquish leads. One stat that Steve Dodge was mentioning is that anytime Ricky has a lead after round one, he is not lost at the Disc Golf Pro Tour.
Wow, that's a crazy stat. I've actually never heard that, but that says a lot about who Ricky is and how well he's playing right now.
And there's the solid hyzer that's going to give him a little bit tighter angle with those trees on the left side to the pretty tricky green. It seemed like he did that all 3 rounds, as just trying to throw a hyzer shot out there wide. And Anthon going with a different route here with the big hyzer. He's really putting full flex on that. He's got a lot of distance on that shot. He doesn't quite throw as far. He doesn't quite have as much power as the rest of the guys on the card. So he has to throw those full flex lines to get the same distance.
Yeah, that's actually pretty cool to see him go all out on the first tee, kind of send a message like I'm not here to lay up, guys.
Right. It's kind of funny to see some like with a fairway that's 200 feet wide on the right, and then he goes for the 30-foot wide gap on the left.
Yeah, and like you said, this hole you can really cut it in half by throwing that long shot.
Right.
And he was right next to Ricky on that, and Ricky definitely doesn't throw the disc short.
And here's a Pro Boss this is a Dana Vici Pro Boss. Not that he gave it to me, but he just likes to give me a lot of crap for throwing it. But that one was pretty far. That was probably my best drive of the tournament right there.
Our Pro Boss or just Pro
No,
Boss?
just Pro Boss. I don't throw our Pro Bosses. Thank you very much, Paul.
Drew Gibson.
And here we get to see Drew Gibson for the third straight round on Jomez coverage. Obviously, you're familiar with his incredible distance. Drew's only like 5'9", but he has like a 6-foot wingspan or something like that. So that really allows him, we call that actually aped index or gorilla index, I've heard it called too. So if you have a positive ape or gorilla index, it allows you to throw further than humans who are like more square shaped.
Yeah, not only that, but the kid has, I would say, almost perfect form. I mean, his form and technique is almost flawless, and he has great touch, like we've said in rounds before. I mean, that shot that he just threw there, that the video really doesn't give that justice.
Yeah, that's just an incredibly tough shot. That's one that he's thrown in the bunker quite a few times. That time he nailed it, threw it perfect, and he's got a tap in. And Ricky, like I said, is just a little bit too far left. The trees were kind of in the way there, and he might have pulled it a bit left out of his hand, so he's going to have to settle for probably just a long, like 80-foot look at a layup.
Yeah, and Josh with a respectable upshot there. And Germ with, you get a little cut roll, but what are you throwing there?
That's my Frontline X mortar. If you see me throw a green approach disc, it's that mortar. I really like it a lot. It's good on courses where you got hillsides like this because it likes to check up. And, I didn't know that Ricky got that little roll right there. He's got a little bit longer puffer par than he'd probably like, but...
Yeah, the thing about Ricky is he really runs, even like the most dangerous putts, he runs them because even if he goes down that hill, the guy is so confident, and you rarely see him miss circle's edge. Rarely so.
I mean, not only is his putting stroke flawless, the confidence that you mentioned is just that's what sets him apart. The word miss is not in his vocabulary.
No.
He doesn't even think that it exists. When it happens, he just steps up and he doesn't think miss exists again, and he makes the next one.
Yeah, that was a good putt by you to start the round. I mean, that's in that range where the nerves are flowing, and that's definitely not a pickup. So that was a good start.
Yeah, with being 3 strokes back of Ricky, I know that any sort of opportunity that he presents has to be taken advantage of. I mean, you don't just casually gain 3 strokes on Ricky Wysocki, especially on a course like this. You can get on a rhythm. You can get a rhythm and you can shoot really low scores. So 3 birdies on that hole, really nice start for us, and Ricky's still comfortable with his 2-stroke lead. And on hole 2, this is one where you can throw a perfect shot and you just really don't know if it stays in bounds or not. Thank God we have a spotter, because if you threw one and it went over that hill right there and you didn't know, you'd be anxious the whole way walking up to the green.
Oh, absolutely. And I think after the first 2 rounds, people are kind of trying to figure it out or getting closer, and you're not seeing as many out-of-bounds shots. It looks like Josh kind of came up short there. Did that stay in?
It did stay in bounds. We all thought that – I thought he threw it out of bounds. He got it a little bit too nose up, and it just didn't quite carry as far as he wanted it to, and he just came up probably about 50 feet short.
Oh, nice shot. That was well executed, just right off the top of the hill.
Oh, I didn't expect to follow flight on this one, but I'll take it. All right. Yeah, here I'm throwing my Star Wraith, pretty stable, and just trying to put a good bit of power on it. It's the whole place, it says 370, but I feel like it might be a tad uphill. I feel like I got to throw it a little bit harder than I'm comfortable throwing it on that kind of line, and especially with that OB long, it's pretty scary. And Drew just executes the shot perfect. I mean, the tricky thing about this hole is that you see that tee pad right there, the golf tee pad. If you fly onto that in the air, you're most likely going to skip OB.
Right.
So this shot has to be tucked in and hit the high grass just like Ricky did. And that's never going to skip OB if it hits that stuff. But if you hit the stuff that's 10 feet right of that, you never know what's going to happen. And Josh said he couldn't even see the basket, not even the band there from where he was. So that was a nice little run from him. But
good little stroke there, about a 17, 20 footer probably.
Right, good tournament putt, something that feels good to make those. And again, I'm not losing a stroke to Ricky, just staying in the mix. He's under the basket with a perfectly executed tee shot, and Drew's going to tap in his 2. Good start for Drew and myself with a couple birdies on pretty tricky holes.
Right. And like you said, Ricky with the just absolute tap in.
Yeah, 2 days in a row he didn't have to bring his putter out, so that was pretty nice for him. So through 2 holes, Ricky's got a 2-stroke lead on myself and 3 on Josh. And on to hole 3 here. Again, this is, just look around. It's just hard to focus on disc golf sometimes when you're just taking a look at these scenes. The panorama out here is it's incredible. It's just it's so much fun. Even if you're not playing well, you can look around and be okay with everything that's going on.
Looks like you got that a little low.
Yeah, I did. I threw long the first 2 rounds with my Destroyer. So here I'm throwing my Thunderbird to try to check up the distance, and instead of putting it high like I'd like to throw the stall shot, kept it a little bit low and pulled it a bit right, and I was lucky to get off that green.
Drew almost hit an airplane.
And he's I'd say he's right outside circle 1, probably close to about 40 feet from there.
That could have been the worst break I've ever seen, is Drew hitting an airplane.
And Rick's a bit long here. This is the putt you do not want. He's about 40 feet away, and that tree is directly in his path, so he's not going to have a really good look at the basket.
No. And Josh, he gets that up high enough, and
that's a good-looking shot.
Exactly.
And that is going to hit the hillside and roll up. That's exactly what you want to do. And this look right here was really tricky. I could see like 2 chains on the left side of the basket, and really wasn't able to get too creative with that. The last thing you want to do is sail past and leave yourself a 30-foot comeback.
Right, and if Ricky isn't drawing metal from just outside the circle, he just didn't have a look.
Yeah, exactly. And Josh rewarded with a perfect tee shot.
Yeah, it looked like he yanked the putt a little bit, but it was low enough to catch, so.
Yeah, Josh is such an incredible putter. He just hasn't really missed a beat.
No.
I wasn't I wasn't really playing a lot when he was really at the peak of his game, or I wasn't playing a lot with him because he was way out of my league at that time. So just seeing videos and watching the way he played before and seeing the way he's playing now, it's like nothing has changed in his game. He's making his putts and still's got the little twinkle toes that he's famous for. You know, like that run up. It's unique. No one else does it.
Yeah, the awesome thing about Josh is his confidence is always just so high. He always believes in himself. He's not afraid of any single putt. If you know him on tour, he's willing to bet you on anything, anybody at any time.
Right.
Or whether it be Macbeth, Ricky, anybody, Josh is right there wanting to prove himself. So.
Well, this is a hole that's going to test his distance. 450 feet and a long water carry, and he's kind of playing the safe shot here. Not really involving the water too much. In fact, he kind of got lucky to hit that tree. It looked like he could have been sailing OB.
Yeah, it definitely looked like a pretty good break, and that he kind of tilted it a little too much, fading towards that out-of-bounds fence.
And I'm throwing a star to shore that I had birdied this hole with the first 2 rounds, but I just got a little bit too nose up, and I came up about 10 feet short. I'm coming up 10 feet short right there of the edge. Fortunately, I did cross land about 80 feet to 100 feet short of the pin, and so I didn't have to go all the way back to basically 100 feet from the tee.
Okay, yeah, because that can be really tough.
And Drew just hits it, and oh my goodness, I thought it looked like he was going to stay on that little strip there and he was going to catch a good break, but he just caught the backside of that hill there. Unfortunately, got a bad break and rolled OB, so he's going to be about 60 feet away to save his par.
Yeah, I guess I never really thought about having too much power and going past into that pond.
Yeah, it's not easy to do for the common player. And that's the best drive that Ricky had all weekend. He's right at the circle's edge. And Josh is just trying to give it a little bit of a run. Not really.
Yeah, there's not much you can do from that distance,
Right.
especially with the OB right there. So that's just a common play. And it looks like you're jump putting with possibly a Nova there.
Yeah, it's a Nova. That's my favorite long distance jump putt disc. I like that it's really straight and glidey, so it gets me a little bit more distance in my P2s. And Drew just misses a little bit left with his judge. And here's Ricky to clean up his birdie, but very un-Ricky.
Yeah, it seems like though when Ricky does miss, that's his miss. Because he fires that nose down high and he just jams
Right.
it. And it seems like when he misses, it's that nose down and he just doesn't get that pop. And that's the only really time that you're gonna see it. Like 1, maybe 2 times, 3 times a tournament, maybe. But
Maybe. No, because I played with him all 3 rounds, and I mean, I saw him miss putts, but they were either a spit out or he hit like just right side chain. I don't think I've seen him airball a putt inside of 60 in a long time. So that was a bit strange. On to hole 5, Ricky with a couple stroke lead over myself and Josh, and this hole is going to be one that the top players are definitely looking at 3ing, but it's not a guaranteed 3. You know, you have to execute 2 quality shots, and I think the key is to give yourself as much distance as possible on this tee shot, which it's dictated by the wind quite a bit. And if you don't get that distance, you're going to have to throw something fast into a very fast green. So getting out there as far as you possibly can really is a huge advantage.
yeah, it looked like Josh just threw a well-executed shot there. Ricky taking the hyzer line, which is probably the safest play, honestly. And honestly, with this hole, you really don't need the distance to have a shot into that green. It's whatever distance you're comfortable throwing, and whether it be 330, and some people it's 200, 230 feet. You're going super aggressive right here. I actually hadn't seen this play at all and didn't know that you did that. But.
Yeah, I wanted to give myself a little bit easier approach. I mean, you do have an approach to the green no matter where you throw your tee shot as long as you're not out of bounds. However, I felt a little bit uncomfortable throwing a driver approach into this green, and so I wanted to cut the distance down quite a bit, and I had thrown a couple practice shots that were nice. And what you can't see here is Drew actually has so much speed and spin on his disc that he skipped out of the bunker. It landed right on the edge of the bunker, rolled up to the edge, and popped right out. So he got a good break there. And
big arm problems, and I never really have to worry about that.
Right. And Josh leaving himself just at the circle's edge, which is a really scary putt, but well within Josh Anthon range.
And Ricky just executes that perfectly.
And pitches up his triple X there out of his hand. He was like, slow down. And then like he saw about 40 feet before it finished. He said, that's perfect. He walked back to his bag.
And Drew also with he left a little meat on that bone, but I feel like he's going to be able to maybe make that one.
This is a bit wide, but ends up crashing in there about 15 feet away or so.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you wanted. You wanted that easy approach to leave yourself that 15-footer.
And look at that. Like I said, hasn't missed a beat. Just has that little Anheuser, pops it with those old grid stamp AVRs, and I mean, he just keeps it on the pole almost the entire flight. Like, you know right out of his hand if it's going in or not. And that was just a little bit of those scary putts. You know, you're looking at that water right behind, and it's hard to commit to that one.
Yeah, it is, and you don't expect that out of Drew, but it is early, and he'll be able to turn that around.
Yep. And Ricky taps that in there. That little stall on the pole putt that he does, which is unique to anyone else's putt. I don't know anyone else that putts that way.
No, and I don't think I've ever seen anybody who putts that way.
Right, ever. The 3 quality birdies there. Drew just unfortunately missed the putt just inside the circle's edge, which is one of the hardest putts I feel like in the game. It's the one you feel like you gotta get, but it's understandable to miss them every once in a while.
Yep.
And here we're on hole 6. It's not the world's scariest hole because you have those walls that protect a poor shot, but you step up to this one, and this is a must make. I mean, you have to get on the green, and you have to make your putt on this one.
Yeah, if you're in the top 10 in this tournament and you miss this one, it's devastating. You're losing 2 strokes to probably the entire lead card, honestly.
And Josh has got that thing swung out wide, but he threw that thing perfect. I mean, no doubt about it. Gave it enough height and enough nose up that it never had a chance to stay right. And Ricky's going with the traditional forehand here. And that's parked.
Yeah, just that high stall hyzer. Looks like he went with more of a spike hyzer into there, and then you play the more stall shot here.
I got incredibly lucky. I was very nervous on this tee shot for whatever reason. I am half in, half out here. Very, very lucky.
Wow, thank you, Disc Stalker.
Yeah, Disc Stalker. If you haven't supported Disc Stalker, go buy something from them right now.
And this is a shot that Drew's so good at with that justice, just throwing that nice stall hyzer backhand in there. That's not an easy play, especially with that green sloping to the opposite side. That's a good putt. After that's really what makes and breaks rounds, is catching those good breaks and then actually
taking advantage of them. Some players will actually knock themselves down a little bit for catching a good break, and they'll miss a shot. And that's the difference. You have to put that out of your mind. And Ricky with a little tap in. Okay, that needs to sit. That's just the insult to injury. I mean, good thing it didn't roll all the way down, but that's the second time this tournament that he tapped in from about that range. And that stall on the pole putt that really works well for him at all distances sometimes can be a little bit tricky on those shorter ones.
Yeah, that's crazy that he was putting downhill, nose down, and it still popped out. But, I mean, like you said,
tough break.
It's a tough break, but there's nothing he's going to change about that ever.
So Ricky's at 17, Josh is at 16, I'm right there at 15. And we're all chasing, and what you need to know is that on second and third card, Anthony Barella and Dana Vici on second card are starting off this round hot.
Yes.
And they're very close to the lead as well.
And Josh, you could tell he just wasn't going after this hole.
Oh, no.
He was just laying up, and then...
He said that was the worst layup ever. He almost spiked it right into the bunker. He made me laugh a little bit here. And going with a low line pro boss, not our pro. I'm going to call this the Dana Vici boss. And I thought I put it right there on the green. It skips off the green, rolls down towards the bunker, and curls up safe right outside the circle's edge. I got as lucky as you can get.
Yeah, thank Disc Stalker again for that one.
And this is just, I mean, look at this. Look at this shot.
Drew.
Good God. That is just perfection.
Yeah, that was good. That was good stuff.
Flip up, just smash.
But you don't really expect anything less out of the kid.
Yeah.
Because, like, that's almost just a brainless hyzer for him. You know, that's not a difficult shot for him to throw.
And Ricky just didn't quite cross the green ever and stayed on the golf green the whole way. And he's unfortunately out of bounds about 100 feet away from the pin. He's going to need this for par.
Anyway, he's off to such a slow start. This is actually very surprising.
It's not really like him. He usually takes advantage of these opportunities to just walk away.
And that's just a huge putt by you. That's a big momentum swing.
Yeah.
With Ricky, like you said earlier, he makes a mistake. You have to capitalize because he's not going to make a lot of them.
Well, what happens here is as Josh taps in his par, Drew's going to go over here and tap in his awesome birdie. Ricky's going to tap in his par, and we just had a 1-2-3 swing. We have a three-way tie at 16 under, but actually it's a five-way tie at 16 under with Anthony Barella, Dana Vici. So there's an incredible amount of drama building right now in this round. And, you know, Ricky started off a little bit slow and kind of tasting the blood in the water, and it's time to pounce. You know, like, this is when Josh, Anthon, and myself are really feeling. This is the third round I see this guy miss his putt over the basket there. It's so funny. I don't know who that is, and I don't mean any offense.
It's Preston. His name's Preston, I know.
Oh, you do? Sorry, Preston.
Arizona kid.
So here's a little Anheuser shot to the green. I want to hit the front side of the green so it would stop the disc, and it just didn't stop the disc.
Oh, wow. And that's a good shot, too. That's a tough break.
You just want to hit the front side of the hill to stop the disc, and had a little bit more angle than I guess it would be perfect, but I felt pretty good about that shot out of my hand. And Drew just...
Wow.
You know, one of the things, when they brought this hole in closer, for me, I never really looked at the backhand shot, but that tree really does come into play.
It does, yeah.
You know, we saw you hit that tree in the second round, and there Drew hit it, and both shots went OB after hitting the tree. So they didn't necessarily make it that much easier by bringing it in 40 feet.
No, it almost made it a little harder because you almost have to throw flippy into the hillside, and Ricky just isn't catching any good breaks, and he's not throwing the best shots.
That's a tough shot to throw into that hillside. Any sort of hyzer angle, like steep hyzer, is really going to be tricky for it to just stick. He's kind of playing, rolling the dice there with throwing a hyzer like that.
But he definitely executed his shot. Yeah,
he executed his shot, but definitely didn't get the break that he wanted. So he's left with about just under 50 feet probably onto an impossible basket, and of course.
And he switched to his spin putt on that one. You don't see that a lot. I would have almost expected him to do his traditional putt there. And Josh also going for it. Oh, and barely misses. That looked good the whole way.
Sure. So Ricky retakes that lead. I'm going to need that to save par, and I am very, very fortunate here. Thought that I hit the cage, and I'm wiping sweat off my brow there because that was not a good-looking putt out of my hand, but it just barely stayed above the rim and went in.
Is this, did we miss Drew's upshot?
No, Drew's approach, he threw a really nice, I don't know what he's throwing for his approaches. It might be a Judge, but throwing that Captain America disc, whatever that one is, he's throwing that really well.
Yeah, he's disappointed with that bogey for sure, but that's a good up and down from where he was.
So Ricky retakes the lead at 17, and Josh and Anthon and I are settling for pars, and Drew falls one back. Until the last hole of the final 9. And this is one that it's just fun to grip and rip. You get the little LARP arena over there to the right, and you see the Toad sign right there on the right, and obviously you just got those beautiful mountains back there. It's just a really nice hole.
Yeah, between hole 1 and this hole, I think are probably the best par 4s on the course.
And Rick is just not even trying to play the straight down the middle route. He's just going wide left from the beginning. For anyone who's going to throw a forehand approach, that's the best way to attack the green because there's no trees in the way out there to the left.
Yeah, and you don't even really need that much of a distance to get to where he got, because he's going to be able to make anywhere from the 400 foot to 380 range sidearm pretty much every time, and that's the only tree that you have to miss is the one that you just...
There's one tree in the fairway.
You threw directly into the middle of...
That was probably the hardest I'd thrown the Dana Vici Pro Boss all weekend. That was going to be really, really far up there, and it was just starting to turn over, and I just clipped the top of that tree.
Yeah, you hit dead center on that tree, man.
And Drew's got all the power you need in the world, and he's just going out there safe left as well.
You're going to need to put a new Pro Boss after that tree.
No, that thing is held up. I've hit some trees pretty hard with that thing. It is still kicking. And,
wow, going with the thumber approach?
Yeah, I'm going with the overhand here. The backhand would be okay if there weren't for the trees out there to the right, and the sidearm was completely blocked. So the only option I could really make sense of was the overhand, and I just didn't get it to swing back right enough. And so I'm about 50 feet away.
How far was it, though?
Probably 370, 380.
That's impressive. And Drew leaves that short again. He's been leaving those sidearms a little shorter than you would expect, so he has a little work to do.
Rick's keeping this one out wide, and that's just textbook. I mean, he did that every round, just happens on this hole.
Yeah, he's not going to miss that shot, rarely ever.
And Josh is challenging these trees out here that are pin high. But, I mean, he's throwing it just past them and not touching anything, and that's just perfection.
Yeah, that's really good. Oh, good putt. Oh, and the SloMez.
Oh, I love getting the SloMez.
Oh, you deserve it on that one. That's looked like you had a low ceiling on a high basket.
And slight left to right crosswind, and
ooh, with a little freestyle after the miss.
Yeah, Drew just, again, he's all 3 rounds, he's just knocking on the door, like right there. I mean, he's not making many mistakes. He's just not quite executing to perfection. Taps in his par there. So with 3 birdies on hole 9, Ricky's going to have a 1-stroke lead on Anthon and myself at 18 down, and Drew's falling a little bit behind at 13 under, but it's really setting up for a really exciting back 9, and we'll see if Ricky can hold on to his lead, or if Josh, Anthon, or myself, or Dana Vici or Anthony Barella can make a run at the title at the Utah Open.
Absolutely.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks as always to Jomez Productions for their incredible work. Thanks to Steve Dodge and the Disc Golf Pro Tour. And thanks also to Jade Sewell and the Water Dogs and all the Utah Open staff for putting together an incredible tournament. Hope you guys could check in for the epic conclusion for the 2017 Utah Open.